Hey guys, so you might find yourself a Toyota Tundra owner and you've started a long-term relationship with a V35A engine. Now, since that relationship started, we've now learned from Toyota recalls and some trending engine failures that this engine is a very high maintenance engine. It's not expected in a Toyota, but it happens to be the case. So now what? Okay, it's not the end of the world. It's not a terrible engine. It's got a lot of good qualities, a lot of good traits. But what it means is we have to pamper this engine if we want it to last. So today I want to tell you the 5 things I am doing as a Tundra owner to protect and extend the life of my V35A engine, and what I think every Toyota Tundra owner should at least consider if they intend to keep their truck long term and get it to the 200,000 mile mark. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, before we get started, I just want to say it's important when something like this happens. Don't panic. I think we can figure some things out. Let the situation develop. But it's important to remember, and respect the fact that a lot of owners put a lot of money into these trucks. And I hope Toyota ends up doing the right thing for their customers. And I think we should definitely hold them accountable to do so. It's important for them to make sure they make this right in the long run and give owners the experience they expected when they put $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 down on these trucks. Okay, so let's get into the 5 things we should be doing. Hey guys, so the most important thing we should be doing for our engines, number 1, is the oil change interval has to be kept short. Okay, the factory manual says that we should be doing 10,000 mile oil changes. That is way too long, way too extended for this engine. So we should be doing 3,000 to 5,000 mile oil change intervals. I plan to do 3,000 miles. You could do maybe up to 5,000 miles, but make sure you're changing your oil, you're keeping it fresh and clean, and not exceeding or getting anywhere close to the point where your oil is reaching a degraded state in your engine. With the turbochargers in this engine and the fuel dilution from direct injection, it's very important to keep our oil fresh and clean. We know that this engine has issues with debris. There's a lot of maybe weak bearing points in here, and weak metals and tolerances that are tight or whatnot. So it's important. Keep your oil fresh, keep it clean. Make sure you're using, too, a top shelf oil. So pick something really good like an AMSOIL, a Mobil 1, a Pennzoil Ultra Platinum, a Castrol Edge, something very high quality. Don't cheap out on your oil. Use the best that you can find where you're going to use it, okay? And also pick a very good oil filter. So pick something like an extended protection filter, something with the lowest micron filtration you can find to pick up as much of the particulates as you can in that oil filter and protect the flow of oil through all the components of the engine, okay? It's important, whatever oil you use, make sure it's the ILSAC GF6A approved oil, okay? It's on every bottle, so make sure whatever you're finding, it has that on the bottle. That's a requirement in our manual for the oil we're using to maintain your warranty and make sure you're using the recommendation of what Toyota requires in their vehicle. I've driven my truck for 4,600 miles since I bought it. And it's got about 55,000 miles on the odometer now. And I've done, in those 4,600 miles, which was basically the 0 mile start for my engine being replaced, I've done 3 oil changes. Okay, I did the first one at 238, the second one at 2,634 miles after that, and then the third one at 1,789 miles. So I'm keeping it very tight with the oil changes, and then I'll eventually adjust to about 3,000 miles, probably for the rest of the life of the truck. So keep it right there. Keep in mind when we're talking about oil changes and the cost, if you do 100,000 miles on the truck and you change your oil every 3,000 miles, that's about 33 oil changes for that period of time in that mileage. If you break it down by 12,000 miles a year, that's about 8 years of driving. It's about $200 a year for cost if I use $50 an oil change, which is what it costs if you do it yourself. So total cost is about $1,670, okay? If you compare that to the cost of an engine rebuild or an engine replacement out of warranty, which at 100,000 miles it would be, you are looking at about 5% of the cost. So you're going to save yourself 95% of the cost if you just do a lot more frequent oil changes. So consider that. I highly recommend it. Think about it, but keep your oil change interval short, 3,000 to 5,000 miles, and you'll help the life of your truck. Number 2, warm up and cool down your truck. When you start it up, make sure you're giving it time to start up and then run those RPMs back down to about 1,000 before you start driving. So you can just give it a chance to warm up, lubricate everything, and get going. And once you start moving, make sure you just drive real lightly, keep it nice and easy, let that engine warm up, let the oil warm up. Make sure also when you're stopping and shutting down that you don't just get off the interstate, let's say at a rest stop. You get off the interstate going 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, and then you're suddenly just pulling off and stopping right away. Let it cool down, let it idle for a minute or two just to circulate that oil, cool the turbos down, let them spool down completely, idle, and then turn it off. That'll help your oil not cook in the turbos or something, something just abruptly turning off. It's not a lawnmower. You got to let it cool down and shut off, okay? Okay, this one is a little more controversial, but consider moving to a 30-weight oil, okay? A 30-weight oil is going to have a higher shear strength and potentially will help protect your engine more, especially if you're using it for heavy-duty towing, working, high temperatures, a lot of stress on the vehicle. So consider a 30-weight oil. I did another video where we went into the manuals for this V35A engine in other vehicles in other parts of the world, and 5W30, even 10W30 is recommended for this engine in other vehicles around the world. So our manual states 0W20 is what's recommended. Other manuals from Toyota official publications recommend 5W30, 10W30, 5W20, and 0W20. So make sure you consider going to like a 0W30 or whatnot, but just make sure it has that ILG6FA rating to make sure you're staying within the recommendation and the requirements that Toyota requires for the oil you use. Don't skimp out, don't cheap out. Make sure whatever weight oil you're using has that rating on it, and you should be within compliance of the requirements, okay? So if you're looking for maximum protection, added margin, consider the 30-weight oil. A lot of debate around it. The 0W20 oil has really come in because of the EPA and the CAF requirements. So consider that, do your research, look into it. There's a lot of advice out there, a lot of consensus that a heavier weight oil is going to help you out in terms of the vehicle longevity and the lifespan of your engine. Looking at GM's recent transition from 020 to 040 oil, that's kind of further proof of that. Oil matters. Protecting your engine with the correct heaviest weight oil you can use is probably the best if you're looking to keep your vehicle long term, okay? So check it out. That's number 3. Hey guys, so number 4 is kill the start-stop feature, okay? This feature is really for the manufacturer to meet EPA requirements and keep their miles per gallon estimates and calculations as good as possible to minimize their fines and maximize their ability to sell the vehicle and not damage their MPG targets, okay? It does not help the vehicle at all to use this feature if you're looking at long-term lifespan of the engine, okay? Starting the vehicle, a startup is probably where most of the wear occurs in an engine. And so using this feature just multiplies that effect 10, 100 times more than what it should be, okay, or what it needs to be to just turn on and run your vehicle. So if at all possible, do one of the deletes, plug in one of those adapters so it just permanently disables it, or make it part of your startup routine where you just hit that button and deactivate the start-stop feature, or lightly press on the brake so you're not activating that feature if you don't want to hit the button and see the little orange dot on your dashboard for that deactivation mode, okay? But definitely recommend kill the start-stop. It doesn't help you out much, and it really negatively affects an engine and the wear that it accelerates, and exponentially increases those number of times your shaft is starting up, rotating. It's lost the film strength coverage on it, and then it's right now starting at a stoplight, spinning and putting load on the engine without that full protection. It takes a couple seconds. Some of the studies that you can see, it takes a few seconds for once that startup occurs for oil to lubricate and coat everything. And so you're really hurting your engine by keeping that feature on. I would recommend turning it off. You don't really need that. It doesn't help you. That helps more the manufacturer. So you want to keep your vehicle long-term, kill that feature, turn that off, get used to driving without the start-stop mode, and you'll do your truck a lot of good for that. So number 4, kill it. All right, guys, so the 5th and final thing that I'm going to be doing, that I think we all should be doing, is normal driving conditions. Drive it in eco mode, okay? So what eco mode does is it reduces power spikes on the engine and smooths things out so that you're not putting as much strain on the vehicle, on the engine. You're not going to quickly go into a boost or whatnot. It kind of smooths it out, keeps things much more consistent and stable and level for the vehicle, keeping stresses on the tolerances lower, things like that. So if you're looking to drive and you want to have fun, sport mode, but if you're wanting to drive and have your vehicle for a long term and keep it healthy and get to 200,000 miles, it's probably best to drive it in your eco mode, maybe normal mode at the best. But eco mode definitely is something that would probably be good for most drivers. If you're just daily driving with the truck, there's plenty of power there. It doesn't take away any power, but what it does is just reduces the stress on the vehicle. So as you ramp up into those power bands, it's just easier on the engine. So prevent unnecessary strain on your engine. Keep that thing consistent. Drive it nice and gently, and driving it in eco mode helps you to do that with less attention and less strain on your vehicle. So definitely recommend that as a final thing to do, just to keep a focus on longevity rather than driving pedal to the floor, rocketing off the line at traffic lights and things like that. So drive your truck nice, keep it in eco mode. If you're towing, when I tow, I do put it in towing mode, but normally I'm either going to be in eco mode or in towing mode, depending on what I'm doing, but helps keep it consistent and keep the truck running well with less strain. So number 5, use the eco mode if you can. Hey guys, so yeah, to close things out, it's important to understand this engine, the V35A-FTS engine in our Tundras, is not a set and forget and just neglect it and it'll last forever like most Toyotas that I've owned have been. This thing is going to require a lot more maintenance, a lot more attention. I've got to pamper it. If you treat it like an old naturally aspirated engine, like the 5.7 V8, like the 4.0, like the 4.7 V8s and the older 4Runners and things, it is not going to last as long as those, okay? So we've got to make sure we treat this thing well. Do these 5 things, take care of your truck, take care of your engine, and it should help, okay? It might not solve all the issues, but a lot of these components, a lot of these variables add up and compound and cause a failure. So if we show special attention and kind of be very intentional about how we maintain and drive our vehicles, it should help us to keep us out of that failure percentage in the percentage of vehicles that are doing just fine, okay? If this advice helped you, go ahead and like and subscribe if you can. If you have comments, if you have other recommendations, post them down below. We'd really like to hear. I love the conversations that come out of these videos. It's a really good community, a lot of good insights showing up in a lot of the comments. So if you get a chance, read through a lot of the comments. There's some good stuff down in there. And if you have something good to share or some more data to share from your own vehicle, share it with us. But this is really geared towards real owners who are really driving these trucks. I own it, I drive it, I take care of it myself. So I wanted to share this with you guys. I want to hear what you have to say if you're another Toyota Tundra owner. Let's do this together. Let's keep our trucks rolling. Let's keep them healthy. And let's try to keep these things rolling to about 200,000 miles or beyond to make this thing work for all of us. And finally, if you get a chance, go check out some of my other videos. They explain why these 5 things matter, why they might make a difference. So there's some details on the start-stop feature and how that negatively affects an engine. There's some video content on oil and the weight of oil and what Toyota recommends. So I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, bye-bye.